Hi all, welcome back. Actually, we have done videos on IELTS speaking wherein we have introduced different aspects of IELTS speaking regarding the format, regarding the assessment criteria, and so on. So we know like when we do IELTS speaking, it's important to know the formats, important to understand the criteria. But above all, one challenge that students, candidates generally faces in developing ideas. Now, what can be done regarding this? They say that, okay, sometimes when it comes to cue card or even when it comes to part one of IELTS speaking, they're not able to develop or carry forward their speaking to more than one sentence. They're not able to actually extend the idea. Now, what can be done regarding this? So in this video, I'm going to show you one very simple technique, which we call it as the PPF, past, present, future technique, to let you know how to extend your ideas. Okay. Now, I would say that this extension of ideas using this past, present, future technique has a twofold benefit. It's not just the case that it improves or it boosts the confidence of the candidate because they feel that, okay, they have spoken enough for at least two or three sentences. It's not just that, it's not just about boosting the confidence of the candidate, but by doing so, but by using this technique, you're also showcasing your language proficiency by exhibiting a range of grammatical usage in front of the or to the examiner. Okay, so let's see how it works. So to bring forth this technique of PPF, I've included a few questions from part one of IELTS speaking, which are all recent IELTS speaking questions, those questions which have appeared in the recent IELTS test. Now, one common aspect that you would notice when it comes to questions in part one is that most of them will have a reference to the present. So that is questions related to your preference, choices, or it will be familiar topics related to the candidate, and mostly you will have to give answers in present tense. Now I've chosen 5 such questions, and like through this video, we're going to see how you can extend or elaborate your response using this PPF technique to such questions. Now, the idea is very basic, very simple. In PPF technique, what is being done is like we can refer to the past. That is, when you're making a reference to the past, what you do is, when a question is being asked, it'll be referring to the present, of course, but that does not mean that you have to restrict your speaking only to speaking things from the present. Logically or coherently, you can connect ideas from the past related to the question. With examples, it'll be more clear to you. Now, what you have to do is when a question is being asked, okay, you give response to that question and logically connect the same idea by referring either to the past or to the future or both. That's how it works. Now, when you are making a reference to the past, like you say what you used to do or what was different about the situation in the past based on the current question. And if you're referring to the future, what you do is based on the current topic, based on the current question that you have got, you make a reference of the same to the future, what you're going to do regarding that aspect or what will be different about the situation in the future. The question might be focusing on the current situation, maybe focusing on the current situation or currently what you do. But through that question, you can make reference to the past or future, thereby extending your idea and showing your grammatical range. Now let's get into the questions. Now here is our first question. Do you enjoy dining out at restaurants? Do you enjoy dining out at restaurants? So the answer is expected to be, or your response will be in simple present tense because the question is in simple present tense. Do you enjoy? So what students generally do is they give a response like this, focusing only on the present. Like they would say that, yeah, I really enjoy eating out at restaurants because I can try different kinds of food and spend time with people I like. Very straightforward answer. The question was in present, so the answer again is put in present. That is fine, but just restricting their speaking to there, that much. Now, using this PPF technique, how we can modify this answer, I'll show you. So the response can be, actually, I was somebody, so you're making reference to the past, who rarely used to eat out. Actually, I was somebody who rarely used to eat out, in fact, only on birthdays or family gatherings. But lately, With the growing number of restaurants that have been opening in my hometown, I go out more often, especially on weekends, because it's fun to try new places and relax. So, see how the idea has been extended. Even though the question had a reference just to the present, you have carried forward that idea by making a reference, starting off by making a reference to the past regarding the same topic, regarding, say, eating out, and then smoothly glided into what? To the present scenario, which the actual question is. This is how you can extend your idea. I hope this is clear. Now let's look at another example. What do you usually do with your friends? What do you usually do? Again, present. Now, let's see a sample answer. Most common way of answering, which students give, okay? I usually hang out at cafes and watch movies and eat out from restaurants. Sometimes we go shopping. I usually hang out at cafes and watch movies and eat out, just giving a list, and train listing out the different things. But this is not what is actually the examiner looking for. They are looking how well you speak using different aspects of different criteria of speaking. There are one of the most important parameters is grammatical range and accuracy. So how can we implement that using this PPF technique? The same question, what do you usually do with your friends? Now, how can we give the response using this PPF technique? Going for a movie or a short trip is the only thing I usually do with my friends. You gave response to the question directly. Now, don't just stop there, move forward. That's it. But I'm sure I'll do much more, like exploring new countries, probably with new friends, since I plan to study abroad. So what you have done, you initially gave the response in terms of the present scenario, but you also made a reference to the future. But I'm sure I'll do much more, like exploring new countries, because you're planning to study abroad. That's how you connect ideas and add on or make your responses lengthy, thereby showing your range. I hope that is clear. Now let's move on to another question. Are there chores you dislike doing? Are there chores you dislike doing? Again, present, simple present. Now, one standard way of replying would be, I often find myself avoiding tasks like washing the dishes, scrubbing the bathroom, and I'm not fond of vacuuming either. Again, a list is being provided. A very short and simple response. How can you make it better using this PPF technique? So how would you do it? One way is this. Well, I used to. Again, a reference to the past has been made and we have started off the response in that way. Well, I used to dislike doing laundry, but now washing the dishes after a long day at college feels just as exhausting. So you started off by saying that earlier I just disliked doing the laundry, but now I even dislike washing the dishes. And then you've not stopped there. It's something my mom always complains about, and I keep assuring her that once I start living independently, I'll have to manage these things on my own and I'll do it. See how carefully the different tenses have been knitted together to provide a wholesome response. The question was in simple present tense, but tactfully it was started in the past tense, then came to the present tense, and then made a good reference to the future as well. Past, then like you have made a reference to the present, because that reference to the present should definitely be there, because the question is in present tense. So that should definitely be there, but that does not mean you cannot refer to the future or past. That can be done, provided that you've given a reference to the present. Then again, like I'll have to means you have just peeped into the future as well. Now let's look at another question. When was the last time you went cycling? So this question is referring to the past, and the candidate understands that when was the last time. So you are supposed to give the response in past tense. But don't just think that you have to give the response only in past tense. Now that is a misconception that students have. That is, they mostly give their response like this. I last went cycling 2 weeks ago on a Sunday morning. And they stop it there. But like, of course, you have to give the response directing to the past tense, but that does not mean that you have to restrict your response there. No, you have to carry it, or you can carry it forward, or you have to carry it forward to show your language flexibility. Now, in what way we can extend this using this PPF technique is, I went cycling 2 weeks ago when I had a free Sunday morning. Okay, you gave response to that. It felt great. I'm quite upset that I haven't had the time recently because of college work. Still, I'm hoping to get back to it soon once things settle. See, you have said you gave response as to when did you do cycling last, but you also made clear that like you're hoping to do more of it in future. So using this PPF technique, that is the advantage. Even if the question intends to give a response from a specific tense, you can go this way or that way, that is to the past or future, and extend or elaborate your ideas and show your language or grammatical range. Now, one more question. Who do you talk to in your family the most? Who do you talk to in your family the most? Again, the response should come in present tense, but let me remind, not just in present tense, you can add on. Now, this is one common way of response that we get from the students. I talk to my mom the most in my family because she understands me better than anyone else. Put it in simple present tense, the response was given and a reasoning for the same is also given. That is fair, but like you have to sound the best, right? So how can you do that? Then one more thing I would like to bring up at this point is that it's not about the authenticity of the response that you give that the examiner will check. It's about how well you're using your language skill to put in the response. So you can actually extend your ideas. It need not be completely right. The ultimate motive is that you have to showcase your language skill. Okay. Now using the PPF technique, you can just elaborate your answer in this way. I've always been closest to my mom. Okay. We talk every day, especially when I'm stressed or need advice. And I know even in the future, she'll be the first person I turn to. So here what has been done, you've showed this perfect tense also. I've always been closest to my mom. I have always been. Okay, present perfect tense has been shown there. And also you've made a reference to the future. That is, in future also, your mom will be the first person that you would turn to. So this is how you use your grammatical range to extend your ideas and to improve your score. Now, this is one very simple technique that you can easily incorporate in your speaking and boost your scores. Not just that you'll, as I mentioned initially, it will improve or it will boost your confidence because you feel that you're talking more, you're speaking at length. And at the same time, you're actually impressing the examiner by showcasing your grammatical range. I hope this video was helpful to you. We'll be back with more such videos, so stay tuned. Thank you.
MedCity International Academy. Trusted hands forever.